All right, everybody, we'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen here. All right, I hope you can see Futato over here on the side. I'm going to start off with a question that I received this week to discuss here in the conference. Just a pretty basic question here. The difference between with a son and with a daughter versus with the son and with the daughter. The article that you see here in number 6, that is evidenced by the patak and the dagesh that you see here. Patak, dagesh, patak, dagesh. Whereas number 5 is shava without a dagesh. Shava without a dagesh. So that's the difference between with a son and with a daughter versus with the son and with the daughter. There is no hey, but you'll remember that prepositions cover up the hey part of the definite article. So all that's left is the patak and the dagesh there. Hope that makes sense. If you have any other questions, let me know. But we will jump back into lesson 8 from last week here. And we will go through, I think it's D and E. Yes, D and E. All right. So we'll start off here parsing. Excuse me. Go ahead and make this a little wider here. All right, and as is my habit on these, I'm going to point out to you what I think is important, the shortcuts, that sort of a thing. You can obviously check your answer key for any answers that I don't cover. Excuse me. And if you do have another question that I or a topic or something that I don't cover here, feel free to ask me anytime. You can email me, text me, whatever's best for you. So number 1, this is our basic form. I know it looks a little bit different because you've got the sere instead of a patach. But as we learned, stative verbs in Hebrew, verbs that usually get translated with some form of to be in English. So here, kaved is he is heavy or he was heavy, something like that. These stative verbs can have, instead of a patach, they may have a sere or a holam. So that's what we've got here. It's just a basic Cal Perfect 3MS form of kaved. And the root, obviously, is what you see here, kaf, beit, dalet. Number 2, the root we have is halach. And the T here is the Cal Perfect 1CS suffix, halakti. This is a regular form, nothing tricky going on here. Number 3, we have yashavta. Yashavta, this is the 3MS Cal Perfect, 2MS Cal Perfect form. The tav kametz here is what we would expect to see in the 2MS. That tav kametz comes from ata, which is the masculine singular form of the subject pronoun you. Number 4, lakachtem. Lakachtem. You see that we have the heavy suffix here, this consonantal two letters here suffix. And so the heaviness of this suffix is going to pull the accent. Well, I don't want to overcomplicate it. Basically what happens is we end up with pro-pretonic reduction here. We've got our tonic, our pretonic. This is closed pretonic, so it does not require a long vowel. Open pretonic is the type of syllable that requires a long vowel. And then the pro-pretonic is going to reduce. All right. Number 5, I think I covered that this was the 2MP suffix here, tem, and that comes from atem. All right, number 5, we've got shamu. Shamu, this is shema, the root, with our 3CP suffix, just the shurik here. And we get a reduction in the R2 vowel to compensate, well, not compensate, but to make room for the added syllable in the suffix. Number 6, sham'a. Same type of reduction here because we're adding a syllable, so the R2 vowel will reduce to accommodate that. Sham'a, this is going to be the 3FS form. So again, shama is our root. And then finally number 7 here, akalnu. Akalnu. So our root is akal. We have our 1CP cal perfect suffix. And everything looks normal, nothing irregular here at all. We basically add the shava under the third root letter because we're adding a suffix. We don't need that shava under the third root letter when it's just the final letter of the word. All right, so that is part D. Let's look at part E here. And since we're only doing 2 exercises, I'll probably go through each of these. Let me pull up my document so I can kind of block off these answers here. All right, so first we have Yeshav HaKohen. Yeshav HaKohen. So we're going to expect the first word to be our verb, and then normal Hebrew word order goes verb, subject, object. So if we've got a verb, especially a verb in the third person, which frequently takes an explicit subject, we're going to assume that our next word is the subject unless it makes more sense as a direct object. Now we know this is not the direct object because it's definite. And if this were the direct object being definite, we would have our definite direct object marker, that et or ate here. We do not. So HaKohen is the subject. We would translate this as the priest dwelt, sat. Depending on how you translate Yeshav, it's usually tied to the context. So we don't have any context. So you could say the priest dwelt or the priest sat. Number 2, we have Kaved HaKohen. So once again, we have a definite article, but no definite direct object marker. So HaKohen is again our subject. And here we have Kaved is heavy. So the priest is heavy. You could say the priest is weighty. Kaved has a wide range of meanings. They tend to center around the idea of weightiness. So that is where the idea of glory comes from. Something that's weighty might be glorious, but something that's weighty might also just be heavy. And so that's something to keep in mind as well. All right. Number 3, we have Yada et ha-mishpat. Yada et ha-mishpat. All right, so here we do have the definite direct object marker telling us that this word is our object, which means we don't have an explicit subject. Our subject is implied by the verb form. This verb form is Cal Perfect 3MS. Yada means he knew. And so we're going to say he knew because we don't have a more explicit subject. We're going to ask he knew what. The et definite direct object marker tells us what he knew. He knew the judgment or the decision. Hamishpat, depending on how you translate that. All right, number 4, we have yad'u. So we have yada, but we've got the 3CP suffix on here. So our subject is going to be plural. And then we get the word ha'anashim. Now ha'anashim is definite, but it does not have the definite direct object marker. That's over here. So we know that this is not our direct object. This is our subject. And here you can see a great example of Hebrew word order. We have verb, subject, and then object. So if yada is he knew, yad'u would be they knew, but we replace the pronoun they with the explicit subject here, ha'anashim. The men knew. What did the men know? The men knew the judgments. So here we have hamishpat, but it's plural, hamishpatim. All right, so the men knew the judgments, or the men knew the decisions. There we go. The men knew the judgments. All right, number 5, we've got shalachti, and then we've got et hanar. So we've got the definite direct object marker here. That tells us that hanar is the object of the verb rather than the subject. Good, because the verb is 1CS, first person. So we would basically need a first person pronoun here to be an explicit subject. We don't have that, so we just go ahead and translate this as if shalachti is from shalach, and shalach means to send, or he sent.
I found this on the web.
Sorry, Siri's getting up in my business. Shalachti would mean I sent. All right, I sent what or whom? I sent et hanar. I sent the servant or the boy. All right, number 6, then we go from shalachti to shalahu. Shalahu is the 3CP form of shalach. So if shalach is he sent, shalahu would be they sent. I then have a word in the subject position. It does not have a definite direct object marker, and it is definite, so it is my subject. Hanevi'im, the prophets, sent what? Et hana'arim. The prophets sent the servants or the boys. Number 7 here, we have a new verb, zavahu. Zavahu is from zavach. Zavach is he slaughtered or he sacrificed. Zavahu is going to be they slaughtered or they sacrificed. Then I've got my 8, ha-zivahim. Ha-zivahim is the plural form of zevach, the word for a sacrifice. So here we have they slaughtered or they sacrificed what? 8 ha-zevahim. They slaughtered or they sacrificed the sacrifices. Number 8, we have Shema Ha'ish Davar. All right, so here we've got our verb in the verb spot. We've got Ha'ish in the subject spot. It is definite and there's no definite direct object marker, so this is our subject. And then we have Davar in the object spot. Now, davar does not have the definite direct object marker with it because davar is not definite. So that definite direct object marker will occur on the direct object only when the direct object is definite. So we would translate then as subject, verb, object in English. So we have the man heard a word, or davar could be like a message or something like that. Number 9, we now have shamanu. Shamanu, this is the 1CP form of shema. So instead of he heard, this is we heard. We heard what? Et ha-devarim. We heard the words or the messages. All right, number 10, we have zakarta. Zakarta is the 2MS form of the cow perfect zachar. If zachar is he remembered, zakarta is going to be you, masculine singular, remembered. You remembered what? You remembered 8 hayom, the day. You remembered the day. Now, just incidentally, hayom is also used, often translated as today. So if Hebrew wants to say today, they might say either this day or even just the day. Not always, you have to use context there, but I don't know of another word in Hebrew for today other than just hayom. All right, so number 10, you masculine singular. Number 10 is you remembered the day. Number 11, Zachra Ha'isha et Ha'ir. So we go from Zakarta, 2ms, to Zahara, 3fs, she remembered. In our subject spot, we have a definite noun, but it does not have the definite direct object marker, so it is the subject. This is Ha'isha, the woman. The woman remembered. Remembered what? Et Ha'ir, the city. The woman remembered the city. All right. Then number 12 here we have La. This one's hard to pronounce. La Kuhu. La Kuhu is going to be the 3CP form of Lakach. La Kuhu, they took. And then here in our subject spot, we have a definite noun that does not have the definite direct object marker, so it is the subject. Ha-melachim, the kings. In the subject spot, the kings took or captured a city. This is just Ir, not ha'ir or ate ha'ir, but just Ir, so it's indefinite. The kings took or seized or captured a city. Number 13, we have Shama'ah. This is 3fs. She heard. Who heard? Ha'aim, the mother. The mother heard. What did the mother hear? The mother heard et Hashem. Hashem is the name, so the mother heard the name. Number 13, we have a mix-up in our word order here. Fronted, so emphasized, is the definite direct object. Et hamilchamot, sham'u hamishpachot. Et hamilchamot, sham'u hamishpachot. So here, et hamilchamot would be the battles. So the battles the families heard. So the families heard the battles, emphasizing the battles is what they heard rather than something else. He gives as an example rather than animals. So the battles the family heard. So the family heard the battles rather than something else. All right, and then number 15, again, we've got 8 at the beginning. So this is going to be marking our definite direct object and then our verb. So 8, hamalchut yadatem. So yadatem is our 2MP form of the cow perfect yada, which is he knew. So yadatem is going to be you all, masculine knew. Knew what? Knew the kingdom. Hamalkut. All right, that is your assignment from lesson 8. Jim, do you have any questions or any topics you want to cover before we shut it down? All right, if not, then we'll go ahead and shut it down. Do check out, it's hard to remember now whether it was this term or a previous term. I think I have shared a link, especially for memorization of vocabulary. Pull this up here. Memrise.com. This is a great kind of vocabulary tool. And if you come here, you have to create an account, but it's free. And if you go to courses and search for Hebrew, and just scroll through here a little while, you will find Futato's textbook right here. So click on that. Now this is just lessons 2 through 14. So let me see if there's a more complete class here of Futato. Here we go. So this one here is chapter 2 through chapter 40. So this is all of them. And you can go in here, and it's kind of like a flashcard app. But the cool thing about Memrise is, let's see here. Let me just do learn these words. So here is the mnemonic that I've created for bat. Most people have heard of a bar mitzvah. Well, when you're a girl and you reach the age of accountability, you have a bat mitzvah. And so that's how I remember bat. Bat mitzvah just means daughter of the commandment. And so that's a mnemonic. Now, maybe you think that's a pretty crummy mnemonic. So instead, you're going to go look for an even crummier one. My daughter is a bat. Oh, that's real helpful. Okay, so Batgirl is a daughter. There are quite a few terrible memes that are available here. But the good thing is you can add your own. And so maybe you have a picture to help you remember. Whatever you do, maybe it's a picture of your daughter and there's a bat on her face or something like whatever it is that helps you remember. The more crazy, the better. But you can save your own mnemonics. Now, this one won't save because I haven't done anything. But that way, when you come through and you learn these, you can, it just facilitates your recall. So check out Memrise. I personally found it to be very helpful. There's an app available on iOS, iPhone, on Android, and then, of course, the website as well. But this, to me, was very helpful for vocabulary memorization. So hopefully you'll find that helpful as well. With that, I think we'll go ahead and shut it down. And if you guys have any other questions, feel free to send them my way. But I hope you have a great weekend. Thanks.